I used to be a firefighter for a volunteer department. The town was small and nothing happened on most days. But I was young and single and I loved the job. I showed up every single time I could. The only person who was there more than me was the chief. As many volunteer firefighters know, when grandma falls down at 3 a.m., you get one or two people. But if there's a fire, people you haven't seen in months suddenly have enough time to show up. Anyway, that department was a mess. People were always crap-talking and backstabbing. Training was a joke. You were lucky to get a PowerPoint once a week. Stuff was stolen often. There was once a whole political coup for some reason. Somebody really wanted power in a small-town department in the middle of nowhere. I learned it was best to just stay quiet and do my job, and that was helped when I went to night shifts at my real job. I was working 12-plus-hour shifts, sometimes 5 or 6 days a week. I still showed up to every run I could, but after 7 years there, I was just done with it all. Everything came to a head when I was scheduled 28 12-hour shifts out of a 30-day month. I was still the second most active member out of 30 people, but I wasn't kissing the appropriate butts, and the management kept trying to get me in trouble. They once threatened to fire me for not turning in some paperwork, and I had to point out the paperwork had been sitting in their mailbox for 3 days. They eventually decided to add a stupid new rule. You were now required to sit at the station for 40 unpaid hours a month. Not doing so could lead to discipline and termination. I didn't bother. I was about 24 shifts into the month, and I did not care about their dumb rule. But I realized that I could make it. So I left work, grabbed a change of clothes, and I went to the department. It was about noon, which was midnight to me since I worked nights. I tried to sleep on the rock-hard beds they provided. Not 30 minutes went by when the training officer kicked the door in and demanded that I get up and help with training. My role? I sat on a hose so it didn't move while somebody else practiced the pump controls. A sandbag could have done just as well. An hour later, training finished, and I tried to go back to sleep. I was told off again. I ended up hiding in the TV room so I could have some peace and quiet. They found me again and wrote me up. First time in years, for what amounted to not being enthusiastic enough about the job. I endured a lecture while trying not to fall asleep where I stood. I finally got to go sit down when I got a text from the boss at my real job. They wanted me to work that night and wondered if I was available. I thought, you know what, I'm available. And I left. A few days later, I got a nasty email from one of the guys who wrote me up telling me they didn't like my attitude and that I needed to think about what I wanted. I thought about it and I realized I didn't want to deal with their crap anymore. So I wrote my resignation letter, went back to the station, gathered my personal effects, and I never went back. So there I was, rolling in my beat-up Honda, delivering pizzas for this joint that's got more cheese than a Rat Pack reunion. No fancy logo, just a place where dough meets tomato sauce and things get greasy. The night was chill, and I was cruising through the city with Pepperoni Dream. I get this order for a large meat lovers combo and a side of wings. Standard stuff. The delivery address was a fancy neighborhood. Big houses, manicured lawns, and SUVs that cost more than my entire life. I pull up to this mansion, and that's where the story takes a detour into crazy town. Ding, dong, and the door swings open. There she stands, a living, breathing Karen stereotype. I swear she had the I want to talk to the manager haircut and everything. She's like, just put it on the table. I'm busy. Cool, right? But then she grabs my shirt like we're in some cheesy romance movie. Serve it. It's your job, she says. I'm thinking, lady, I'm just trying to make a buck here. But she's not having it. It's part of your job description. She insists. I'm like, nah, lady, my job's to deliver the pizza, not to be your personal servant. We go back and forth like two characters in a badly written sitcom. Finally, I say, look, I gotta roll. More pizzas in the oven, you know? She stares me down, and that's when I realize this isn't your regular Karen. This is a Karen on steroids. Her kids, or gremlins as I'd come to know them, were wreaking havoc in the background. Pizza was already in one of their grubby little paws. The smell hit me, a mix of dirty diapers and mystery stank. The little ones looked like they'd been playing in mud puddles all day, and Karen seemed more interested in whatever she was busy with than the chaos around her. I tell her, you gotta pay up, lady. She laughs like I just cracked the world's worst joke. Payment. Oh, that can wait. My darlings need me. Now, I'm a patient guy, but not when my money's on the line. So I pull out the phone and dial up CPS. As the phone rings, Karen goes from Karen to full, on banshee mode. She's screeching, "You can't do this! I have rights!" CPS arrives like superheroes in a beat-up sedan. They see the scene, kids looking like they've been living in a dumpster, Karen still holding my pizza money like it's the Holy Grail. The social worker, no, nonsense lady with a badge that probably says child savior or something, gets down to business. She checks the kids, takes a whiff of the air, and gives Karen the kind of stare that could melt steel. Karen's still yapping about rights and pizzas, but the social worker ain't having it. She tells Karen, "Mom, you're going to need to clean up your act, literally. Kids can't live like this." She explains that neglecting your kids isn't a right, but a one-way ticket to CPS town. Karen, realizing her game is up, hands over the money with a face redder than a tomato. I'm just standing there, pizza bag in hand, witnessing a suburban showdown. The social worker ain't done. She makes Karen clean up the kids, tosses them into a bath, and hands them some clean clothes that magically appeared from her Mary Poppins bag. The lady even pulls out some air freshener, doing God's work to get rid of the stank. While Karen's busy dealing with the consequences of her messy life, I take my money, tip my hat to the social worker, and head back to the pizza. Mobile. The night went from ordinary to insane, and all I wanted was to deliver pizzas, not become a side character in someone's family drama. As I drive away, I can't help but think about those kids. Maybe, just maybe, they'll have a shot at a cleaner pizza. Filled future thanks to a delivery guy who decided he wasn't delivering just pizza that night. Life's funny that way, I guess. In November 2021, I worked for a small logistics company that delivers for Amazon. I applied for this position because I love driving and am pretty much at home on the road. I thought I should give mass delivery a try, see if I like it or not. Well, this company ruined it for me and went the extra mile to annoy me. I found out on day one that I didn't get any formal training. Instead, I got inducted into a nursery program that included 2 rides. This means that in my first week, I deliver 50% of a normal route. On my first day, someone will come with me to show me what I'm doing. Then I'm on my own for the rest of the week. On the first day of my second week, I was moved to nursery 2, 80% of a normal route, and got my second ride. For the entire second week, I was getting hints from pretty much everyone that I was one of, if not the slowest, drivers they'd ever had. Note that I had a whole 2 days of training. I don't count the rest, as I was not with anyone to train me. The rest of this story will all be about the second week. The first thing that really pissed me off was when the delivery app took me to an address that didn't exist. Like legit, just a big dirt lot with some bulldozers and excavators. No mailbox, no buildings, nothing. It's Sunday night, so there's nobody around to ask. So I called driver support. The conversation went as follows. Me. I have a package that's undeliverable. The address is incorrect. Driver support. Just mark it as missing. Me. Why would I do that? I have it right here in my hands. Driver support. The undeliverable button isn't working. Just mark it as missing. Hangs up. I proceeded to mark it as missing and finished the rest of my route early and without incident. I returned the missing package to the warehouse, told the marshals what happened, and returned the van to dispatch. When I got back to dispatch, there was a write-up waiting for me because I had returned a package marked as missing instead of retrying delivery. I told them what happened and was told to sign the write-up. I refused and went home for the night. On the next to last day of my second week, basically the same thing happened with another package. I was sent through the same ringer and called dispatch to explain the situation before continuing. I was told to just keep moving with my route and they'll get in contact with the warehouse. I saw no evidence of this happening, as when I returned, there was a write-up waiting for me, returning a package marked as missing. I said to myself that I'm done with this nonsense. It's time to do something. I reread the employee contract and found a clause that every time the van comes to a full and cooler stop, it just be turned off. Oh boy, did I know what I was going to do the next day. I came into work, claimed a van, picked up my packages, and proceeded to turn the van off every time it stopped. I was laughing so hard at all the people honking at me while restarting those big vans. After about 2 hours and at least 150 restarts, it wouldn't turn over anymore. I called dispatch and requested a rescue van. I then killed the rescue van and the rescue van for the rescue van. I killed 3 vans in one day. When I returned to dispatch over an hour late, they asked me what happened. The nice way of asking, "What do you think you're doing?" I said I was following the contact and proved myself correct in front of my dispatcher. He wrote me up for unsatisfactory performance, and I pointed out that that makes 3 write-ups in a month. If he wants me to sign that, he'll have to call the boss in, then explain why I'm being written up again. I said, "Yeah, call your boss." I'm sure she'd love to hear why she's being called in at 9:45 at night. He dropped the write-up. I followed up by asking if one of the faster drivers could meet me at the warehouse 10 minutes early to discuss van organization. He agreed to this. I didn't show up the next day. I started dating Daniel 2.5 years ago, and we got married last year. Daniel has 5 kids with his ex-wife, Ava, 11, Jason, 9, Isabella, 6, Sophia, 5, and Andrew, 3. Daniel's ex never liked Ava. She blames Ava for leaving her trapped in a relationship with her dad. When they got divorced, she said she didn't want anything to do with Ava. Ava was 8 years old at the time. Ava's mom leaving, but having a relationship with her siblings destroyed her. She had to go to the hospital 3 times over the first 4 months. She didn't sleep or eat and would have panic attacks at school. The weeks Ava's siblings were with their mom were the hardest because it was a constant reminder that her mom loved her siblings and not her. She would barely get out of bed those weeks, so around 2 years ago, I surprised her with a day trip to the beach. I bought her a cute swimsuit. We got ice cream. We went boogie boarding, went out to eat, and went shopping. It was the first time I'd seen her smile in weeks. I noticed it was helping Ava, so we started to go out more and more. When her siblings are here, it's something small like dinner before therapy. But when they're not here, we go camping, we go hiking, we try new restaurants, we go back to the beach, etc. And she loves it. I don't spend nearly as much one-on-one time with the other 4 kids for 2 reasons. These kids already have a mom that loves them, and they don't need it as much. It is so much easier to do anything with 1 kid than 5. When I spend time with Ava, I stick her in my Honda and we go. When I have all 5 kids, we take a big passenger van and they fight over everything. It takes twice as long to go somewhere because I keep having to pull over and break up a fight. I do take all 5 kids out 1-2 times a week when they're with us, but it's not usually a big trip like what I go on with Ava. We'll go to the beach 20 minutes away instead of the one almost 2 hours away. We'll go on the walking trail by our house instead of a 4-mile hike. Sometimes we have picnics in the park. The big thing this summer is the amusement park. I'll take all of the kids with their dad or their nanny. We go on some rides together. Then one of us will take the older 2 to go on all of the scary rides they want, while the other takes the younger 3 to kiddie rides that the older 2 are way too big and mature to go near. Then we meet up at the water park. We've done this at least once a week this summer. Recently, my husband asked me to start taking the younger 4 on day trips like the kind Ava and I go on because they're starting to get jealous. I said I'll try to plan more fun activities, but my trips with Ava aren't suitable for all 5 kids. He said I should try to treat the kids equally and either not take Ava or take everybody. I said I will when he takes all 5 kids camping or on a 4-mile hike by himself. He called me a bad stepmom, so I wanted to know if I was the a-hole. And now for some comments. You're not in the wrong. Why doesn't their father do as much for his kids as you do? I think, given the circumstances, you're not doing anything wrong here. You're not in the wrong. I can see the other kids viewing it as unfair. However, Ava needs a mother, and they just need a stepmother. They weren't abandoned. Their dad should realize this. In the long run, the others might be grumpy, but you're going to save Ava a lot of trauma by being there for her. A good middle ground, I would think, would be doing one-on-one things with the others at least twice a year. At least a 9-year-old. The things you do aren't super age appropriate with the toddler. He says you should treat the children equally, but they are not equal. Ava has been rejected by her own mother. She needs to feel loved, worthwhile, like someone's daughter. You give her what is not there for her, just as the other children have a mother to fill that role. The other kids do not need the same, and so you are treating them according to their needs. In age, appropriate way, perhaps through therapy. They need to learn some empathy for their sister. They are not the ones being left behind, the one being left, and your partner calling you a bad stepmom when you are the opposite is well out of line. You're not in the wrong. A few weeks ago, I was out shopping with my mom at our local Target, and like most people who enter Target on a Saturday, I immediately lost all track of time and space and ended up in the clearance clothes area, minding my own business, looking for some sweet $12.47 cardigans. You know the drill. There's a family near me, 2 EMs, maybe an entitled aunt, and several EKs about 9, 12 years old who I'm aware of because they are quite loud, running, screeching, etc. Whatever, Target and clearance cardigans get people excited. Hell, I'm excited. It's totally cool. Until I'm quietly browsing through the racks and a hand grabs my ankle. Now, I'm the one doing the screeching, but of course it's one of the EKs. He's laughing, so proud of scaring me in his amazing joke. And because I'm generally a nice, pleasant gremlin, I laugh with him and make eye contact with EM1 in a sort of kids will be kids kind of way. Fast forward about 6 minutes later when something large and the size of a 12-year-old slams into my back, grabs me hard around the waist from behind, and generally knocks the wind out of me. This is a problem for 2 reasons. The first being that I fell off my horse and was trampled by him 5 days ago. I ride horses competitively, hunter jumpers if you're curious, and it wasn't his fault and he was very sorry. This necessitated a ride in an ambulance, a fractured pelvis, and most importantly, the second problem, 4 very broken ribs. This happy excursion to Target was actually my first time out of the house in 5 days and my first day without crutches, so I was moving pretty gingerly. It turns out EK1 was apparently so emboldened by his hilarious grabbing the lady's ankle joke that he decided to get a running start and slam into me from the back while simultaneously grabbing my waist and screeching. I'm horrified and immediately in horrible, lightning in front of your eye style pain. It hurt so bad. I shoved the still laughing EK off of me and looked straight at the EM who was standing no further than 3 feet in front of me while this was going on. She's laughing. EK1 is so cute and funny. I managed to scream, literally scream. I have 4 broken ribs. Don't touch me. She does nothing. I'm struggling to keep standing upright at this point and start calling for my mom to come help me. 60, not super great at hearing, but please don't tell her I told you. She rushes over. I manage to tell her what happened. We're both looking at EM and now EA, expecting at best an apology, or at worst, just bare acknowledgement that that just happened, but nothing. EM and EA grab the EKs and bail. Meanwhile, I'm barely upright and having trouble breathing. Many employees, as well as the manager, came to my aid, and I was assured none of them would be welcome in Target again. Say bye to the thrill of clearance cardigans, which my wonderful mom helps me out to the car. We go home, empty-handed, no clearance cardigans, no Tupperware, no light bulbs, no peanut butter. And 4 hours later, I'm still in bad shape, leading to another visit to the ER and the knowledge that my ribs were apparently fusing but had been refractured very slightly.